All right, so let's jump right in. This is quite a story about Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs.
Yeah.
It's a really complex legal situation. And you sent us a Fox News article from December 13th, 2024. Looks like a lot to unpack here.
Definitely a lot of layers to this one.
Yeah, two hip-hop icons facing a serious lawsuit. So we're going to break it all down for you, what we know so far, what it means, all that good stuff.
It's a fascinating case. It
Yeah.
brings up not just the legal stuff, but also, like you said, the power dynamics,
Oh, yeah.
especially back then in 2000.
Exactly. So the lawsuit, it alleges that both Jay-Z and Diddy raped a 13-year-old girl
Oh, wow.
at a VMA's after party back in 2000. And the article, it details some really disturbing accusations,
Yeah.
particularly how the girl was approached by someone
Right.
who said they worked for Diddy.
Uh-huh.
And they told her that Combs liked younger girls and that she fit what Diddy was looking for, even offered her a ride to the after party.
That's pretty chilling.
Yeah. It's a tough one. Now, the lawsuit was initially filed in October 2024,
Okay.
and at that time, it only named Diddy. And
Right.
Diddy denied the allegations right away.
Immediately. Yeah, he denied it all.
Yeah, and then in December, Jay-Z was added to the lawsuit.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But get this, he'd already received a demand letter
Mm.
from the plaintiff's lawyer, but he went public calling it a blackmail attempt.
Really?
Yeah, and he refused to settle. I'm going to quote him directly here from the article.
Okay.
He said, "No, sir, it had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny."
Wow. That's something else.
Yeah.
I mean, demand letters, those are pretty standard in legal stuff, right?
Right. Yeah.
Usually it's to try and settle things before it goes to court,
Totally. But then where's the line
Right.
between what's standard practice and what Jay-Z is calling extortion?
Yeah. That's a good question.
Yeah.
And the courts are probably going to have to sort that out.
Yeah.
One legal expert in the article, Lauren Johnson Norris, she actually pointed out that settling outside of court,
Uh-huh.
it's often better for everyone. It avoids that whole long process and the media attention,
Sure, yeah.
all that.
And the potential for even more damage, right?
Exactly.
But I mean, with Jay-Z coming out, that, it seems like this is going straight to a courtroom.
Yeah, it seems like it.
And there's this whole game of chicken thing
Oh, yeah?
that another expert, Robert DeGroot, mentions.
Okay.
Can you explain what he means by that?
So he's basically saying that both sides, Jay-Z's team and the plaintiff's lawyer, Tony Busby, they're both kind of in a standoff.
Right.
Each one is pushing, waiting to see who backs down first.
Uh-huh.
It's risky, though, because if you miscalculate, things could really backfire.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, Jay-Z didn't just sit back.
Right.
He filed a lawsuit against Busby before being named in the original suit.
Wow.
He called him John Doe and accused him of extortion.
That's interesting.
Yeah, playing hardball for sure.
For sure.
And remember, this all happened before Jay-Z was officially added to the lawsuit.
Right.
And to add another layer to all this,
Yeah.
the lawsuit mentions this celebrity B who supposedly saw both assaults.
Celebrity B.
Yeah. DeGroot thinks the celebrity B is a key person, and we'll find out who they are as this goes on.
Oh, so their identity will come out eventually.
Probably, yeah. Johnson Norris, she even suggests that celebrity B might have been a victim too,
Oh, wow.
which would make things even more complicated.
Definitely.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. So Jay-Z's legal team,
Mm-hmm.
they just filed a motion to completely dismiss the lawsuit, and they're demanding the accuser reveal her identity.
Oh, wow.
They say the lawsuit's an extortionate campaign.
Okay.
His lawyer even says that Jay-Z is being forced to either pay millions, doesn't matter if it's true or not,
Yeah.
or face potentially ruining his reputation.
Right.
So it's a big move.
Definitely a bold move.
And it makes you wonder what their strategy is here.
Yeah. What are they doing?
I mean, on the one hand, demanding the accuser's identity, it could be seen as trying to intimidate her and silence her.
Right.
But on the other hand, it could be a way to legally test how valid the accusations are.
Yeah, that's true.
So it throws a wrench in everything.
For sure.
And leaves us all wondering what's next.
We'll have to wait and see how it plays out.
Yeah.
This is far from over.
Definitely.
It'll be fascinating to see what happens with their legal strategies, both sides.
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It
It's
is.
a crazy story.
Yeah.
Really is.
Absolutely crazy.
And it's just the beginning, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah, just getting started.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Wild stuff.
it is wild.
All right. Well, we'll have to keep following this one for sure.
Definitely keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So I think we'll wrap it up there for part one.
Yeah, that's good for now.
And we'll be back with part 2 to dive deeper into this crazy story.
That's good.
All right, we'll see you soon.
See you then. Makes you think about public opinion and all that.
Right, like how that plays into all this.
Yeah,
Especially with social media now.
totally.
Everything just explodes so fast.
It's crazy how fast things spread.
It really is.
And it's hard to know what's even true anymore.
It is. So how do you think that affects, like, the legal strategies in a case like this?
Well, I mean, you got to remember the music industry back in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different landscape back then.
Right.
The hashtag Me Too movement, that hadn't happened yet.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah.
people just weren't as aware of these kinds of things.
Yeah, it was different for sure.
It was harder for victims to come forward back then.
Yeah, especially against someone like Jay-Z or Diddy.
Yeah, exactly. Huge, powerful figures.
Right.
So, things were definitely skewed back then.
That's a good point. Do you think have things changed for the better since then?
I think so.
Huh.
But, I mean, there's still a long way to go.
Right?
Hashtag Me Too definitely changed the conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
Make people more aware. But the music industry, just like a lot of industries,
Right.
they still have problems with, like, power,
Yeah.
and exploitation and just holding people accountable.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a reminder that even with all the progress we've made,
Uh,
these problems haven't gone away.
not at all.
And this case, no matter what happens with it,
Right.
it makes us think about all this, these uncomfortable truths
Yeah,
about what was going on back then.
absolutely. So, like, have things really changed? What's in place now to stop this kind of thing from happening again?
Yeah, those are the questions we got to ask.
They're tough questions,
They are.
but we gotta ask them. It also makes you think about how hard it is
Yeah.
for someone to come forward like this,
Absolutely.
especially after so many years.
Especially after all this time.
It's a lot to carry.
It really is. To speak out against these powerful figures like that,
Uh-huh.
publicly too,
Right?
that takes a lot of courage.
Yeah. It does. So what are the possible outcomes here, do you think? Like legally and just for their reputations?
Legally, I mean, there's a few things that could happen.
Right.
The lawsuit could get dismissed, they could settle,
Right.
or it could go to trial.
Uh-huh.
Each one is different,
Yep.
for Jay-Z and Diddy.
Right.
If it gets dismissed, that's a win for them.
Yeah.
But a trial, that puts them under even more scrutiny.
Right. Yeah.
More risk, too.
Uh-huh.
And then there's the public, like we talked
Yeah,
about.
public opinion.
Their reputations have already taken a hit.
For sure.
It's hard to say what'll happen long term.
Yeah, so even if they win in court,
Yeah,
there could still be consequences.
absolutely.
Wow.
This case shows how powerful perception is
Right.
and how hard it is to fix a reputation once it's been damaged,
Yeah, especially these days.
especially now. Yeah,
Uh,
things spread so fast.
right. It also makes you think about our responsibility
Oh, yeah.
as consumers of information.
Big time.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, with social media,
Yeah.
it's easy to jump to conclusions,
Right.
make judgments before you have all the facts.
Right.
It's natural to react strongly to this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we got to remember there's a legal process happening,
Right.
and we shouldn't prejudge anything.
Good point. We don't want to add to all the noise and speculation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's important to be careful about what we read and hear,
Absolutely.
Be critical and be open to the idea that the truth might be more complicated than it seems.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
And, it's important to look at different perspectives.
Mhm.
Consider all the sides, all the little details.
Uh-huh.
The truth is often more than what we see at first.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Right.
what's the main takeaway you want listeners to think about?
Well, I think this case shows us that the legal system,
Uh-huh.
it's just one part of a much bigger conversation.
Okay.
It's about power. It's about holding people accountable
Right.
and how we find justice in this crazy world.
That's a great point. The story's going to keep going,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
and we'll be here to break it all down for you.
Absolutely.
But for now, we'll leave you with something to think about.
Okay.
What does this case tell us about power and fame and how we hold people accountable in the 21st century?
That's a good one.
It's something for all of us to consider
For sure.
as we try to understand these issues.
Yeah, both individually and as a society.
Exactly. All right, well, we'll be back with part 3 to continue this deep dive.
Sounds good.
It's easy to get lost in all the legal stuff.
Yeah, the back and forth.
The accusations and all that.
Right, all the strategies.
But we can't forget,
Yeah.
that this is about real people
Absolutely.
and their lives.
People's lives are being affected by all this.
Yeah, and potential trauma,
Sure.
It's about trying to find justice.
And as we've seen, finding justice It's rarely simple.
Right. It's messy.
Yeah, it's complicated.
And sometimes the truth is really hard to figure out.
It is.
Yeah.
And we're dealing with some serious accusations here.
Yeah.
Accusations that can have a huge impact on everyone.
Right. No matter what happens in court,
Yeah,
these accusations, they carry a lot of weight.
they do.
Yeah.
We need to be sensitive about that,
Yeah, we have to be.
and respect everyone involved.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember what you said before
Right.
about our responsibility, like as people consuming this information.
Oh, yeah. That's huge. Especially now.
Especially with social media.
Social media changes everything.
It really does.
Opinions and judgments, they form so fast now.
So fast. We have to be careful about
You
that.
do. It's
Yeah.
easy to get caught up in the sensationalism
Right.
and rush to judgment before we know all the facts.
Yeah.
We have a responsibility to be thoughtful,
Yeah. To be discerning.
to think critically about what we see and hear.
Right. And not just add to all the noise and speculation.
Exactly.
We have to be open to the possibility that,
Yeah.
that the truth might be more complex than we think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It might not be as simple as it looks.
Right. And we need to look at it from different angles.
Yes, multiple perspectives.
Consider the nuances.
Yeah, all the detail.
Because there are different sides to every story.
Every story has layers.
It does. So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
what's the one thing you really hope our listeners take away from this?
I think the big takeaway here is that
Yeah.
this legal case, it's just part of a much bigger picture.
Okay.
We're really talking about power
Right.
and holding people accountable.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's about the pursuit of justice.
Right. And that pursuit of justice, it's a journey.
It is a long one.
It's not always easy or clear-cut.
Not at all.
And this story, it's not over yet.
No, not by a long shot.
We'll continue to follow it and break it down for you.
We'll be here.
But for now, we'll leave you with this thought.
Okay.
What does all this tell us about power and fame
Yeah, good question.
and how we hold people accountable today?
In the 21st century, things are different.
They are. It's something we all need to think about as we
Crazy.
navigate these complex issues.
Absolutely. It's about us as individuals,
Yeah,
but also as a society.
exactly. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
It's been a heavy one, but important.
It has. Important to have these conversations.
It is. And we'll keep having them.
We will.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Until next time.
Stay curious.